Most people dislike how centralizing Kainen parties are, but the Black Knight was received in a different manner while also having a fun and refreshing playstyle. He has a lot of good advantages and disadvantages, and while his kit seems a little bit complex to some people, he is pretty well designed and balanced. This time I'm going to talk about why he's good, the disadvantages that we face when including him on a theme, and why he's fun to use along with my personal opinion about him. Without further note, let's see what's the deal with his entire kit. As a quick rundown, Black Knight has to kill their teammates to gain several quirks, which gives him access to powerful tools. To do this, he has several skills that overkill his allies, and if he is in the front row, he can revive them while also giving them 2 VP and 100% special gauge. Usually what you want to do is use his skill that kills the back row to gain 30% passive attack and sword damage up, 100k cap up, and access to his 200% ultimate. After that, we use his ultimate to gain triple cast and 2 VP regen from his passive. And then his EX skill to gain 100% potency up, 100k cap up, increase the buff cap for attack and sword damage up to 50%, and then grant himself 20% attack and sword damage up. When he uses his ultimate, he has a 15 random target sword attack with 140 potency, or a 12 AoE sword attack with 150 potency for nuking, or even a 12 single target sword attack that inflicts 15% defense and some rest down. Not only that, but thanks to the special gauge he grants when reviving a teammate, he allows someone like the Black Maiden to use 3 VP on the second turn and use the Penguin or the Black Dog to reach her 200% ultimate. This means that the Black Knight not only becomes one of our strongest DPS thanks to the potency of his attacks, a high number of multi-hits, and self-support, but he also allows you to do some fun strategies with his special gauge and revival mechanic. The thing that hinders him the most is that it takes 2 turns to set him up. Even if you don't use his EX skill, you still want him to kill at least 4 people, so depending on the matchup and how fast your clear is, you will be hindered by trying to use him. Most of the time you want to use him on 4 turn clears on onwards, although he can still be used on 3 turn clears too. Another disadvantage that he has is that you need someone else to give him 100% potency up for the second turn of break. Thanks to the 200% special gauge for support ultimates, you don't miss much by using one of them in your team, but even then, with how competitive our team slots are, you will end up missing a valuable spot that could be used on a different unit. He also doesn't come with guaranteed crit, which means that you want to bring either Tiziano, Elrica EX, Detraina EX, or Casty into the mix. Most of the time it's better to bring 2 DPS characters, and since you are going to pick parties, then 2 characters are going to benefit from the guaranteed crit buff, so it still ends up being worth it. And depending on the matchup and how long the fight is, using the Detraina EX works great as a 3rd DPS. All of this means that in a Black Knight theme comp, you want to cover these 2 spots to bring out his greatest potential, and since the Black Knight relies on killing people to activate his passives and enhance his abilities, you will also need to coordinate your buffs and healing skills in a different way. Most of the time, you can delay your regen skills by 1 turn and leave 1 person without regen or find other ways to keep your units alive. And ideally you only run 2 or 3 DPS units in your team, so buffing your team doesn't get hindered at all, but nevertheless it is an issue that you have to circumvent. Compared to Kainen parties, making a theme including the Black Knight means that we have to play around his mechanics. He is a really strong DPS unit, and taking advantage of the special gauge he grants while also playing around his weaknesses not only feels fun, but it also feels rewarding. You have to build your way upwards to benefit the most from him. You can develop unorthodox strategies like purposefully letting someone die and using the Black Knight's revival mechanic to both buff him and also forgo your regen skills, which makes things feel different and entertaining. It's really different from what we are used to, and even though he follows a repetitive path, everyone else now has to play differently, since now they have to adapt around his Curse Scar mechanic. We are used to having some of our DPS units have a selfish role in our team. Kainen, for example, only debuffs the enemy, and Parties only provides active buff and debuffs. But the Black Knight is different. He is both selfish and also helps your party by doing so. And thanks to this multifaceted nature, it adds a new layer of complexity to our strategy. Personally, he sounds like a glass cannon of sorts. We have to sacrifice our team's stability to gain DPS. That, combined with him being a breath of fresh air on a time where the meta looks stale, alongside the new mechanics and the small complexity of his kit, makes it so he feels fun because he strives better on the line between challenge and skill compared to Paris and Kaine. I know that this video was different compared to the usual meta talks I do, and I'm still planning on doing more videos about the meta in general anyway, but this unit really caught my eye in the moment it released alongside the Black Maiden, so I hope that you enjoyed the video and have a great day.